Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this right now, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here and for being so patient with me. I know I've been totally MIA and I really don't like that. I don't like not posting. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm not going anywhere. I've just had like a series of events happen that caused me to not post for over 2 months. It was totally not planned. It kind of just happened, and I'm gonna explain what exactly I've been doing in the past 2 months in this video. I feel like these like life updatey videos can be kind of boring if you don't really care about my life, so I take no offense if you guys don't want to watch this video. I have a lot more exciting videos coming up soon, I promise. I actually just got back from a really exciting trip. So yeah, I have some cool travel videos coming up soon, but this video is just gonna be explaining kind of like story time style where the heck I've been. So I guess I'll just jump into it. The last time you guys saw me, I was in India and I was just a few days away of completing my yoga teacher training. It was such an amazing, incredible, life-changing experience. As I'm sure you could tell in that video, I was totally inspired. And I got a few questions about whether I'm gonna be posting any like yoga instructional videos. As of now, I'm not going to be because I'm still at the very beginning of my yoga journey. Even though I've been practicing for a few years, I'm definitely still not super experienced when it comes to teaching, and there's just so many better options when it comes to online yoga resources, so I'll link some down below. I definitely want to start teaching in person, and then as I grow and evolve in my teaching practice, maybe I can start sharing some videos. But as of now, I don't have any yoga videos coming. But anyways, the night I finished filming that day in my life video, I ended up getting super sick, which isn't uncommon in India just because of the different food and water, and it totally could have been from the stray dog that I had in my room for 2 days. Definitely not my smartest move. I really need to remember to give space to stray animals in foreign countries. But regardless, I ended up getting sick. It wasn't too big of a deal, and I was really lucky that it happened at the very end of the month. I only had like 2 days of training left, and then I had my ceremony, I graduated, and then I was probably sick for like 4 more days. Not such a big deal, just like a stomach bug kind of thing. But my plan after my training was to travel for 4 weeks with a girl that I met in my training named Emma, really good friend of mine now, and our other friend Claudio is gonna travel with us for the first 2 weeks. So we started traveling while I was sick and things were going well. We went to New Delhi, we went to Varanasi. I actually started a travel vlog, but it ended up just going nowhere because we got to Varanasi and unfortunately my friend Emma got a phone call from her family and she had to go home for a family emergency. It was just very clear in that moment that she had to go home, and that was totally okay because of course family comes first and India's not going anywhere. So we kind of had to regroup in that moment and decide what we were all gonna do. But in that same moment, just like a few hours later, Emma and I got violently sick again, which was like just totally unfortunate, such bad timing, but also weirdly good timing because I felt like a sign that we were just kind of like ready to leave. I'll save you guys all the details, but we were super sick. But anyways, I pretty much had to decide whether I was gonna stay in India and travel on my own or whether I would just save it for another time. In the end, I decided not to travel on my own because I felt super safe and comfortable when we were in Rishikesh. I really didn't feel any kind of threat whatsoever, even when I was walking around on my own. But as soon as we left Rishikesh, even in a group of girls, I didn't feel super comfortable, and I just didn't feel like traveling on my own in India was the smartest move. So I ultimately decided I was also gonna fly home. We already like had flights to Sri Lanka and stuff, so it was a little bit sad to say goodbye to our itinerary, but we still might end up going back to India and doing that whole trip. I really hope we do. But anyways, a few days later, I ended up flying back to the Netherlands. I was still super sick, by the way, still like having this total stomach bug. I ended up going to see a doctor there and they wanted to do some lab work, but I have insurance, but I don't have insurance when I'm abroad, and it was like gonna be really expensive, and I was like kind of starting to feel better, so I decided to pass on that. But I was in the Netherlands for 1 whole month and I never got to like 100% health. I still felt like something was wrong, even though like my stomach symptoms went away. I couldn't do my full yoga practice that I had been doing every single morning for a month. So I just like kind of felt like something was off. That was part of the reason why I didn't make any videos during that month. But I want to be like super open and honest with you guys and explain kind of the other portion of that, because I was definitely well enough to pick up my camera. It wasn't like I was really sick in bed, like couldn't do anything. I was fine. I just like was a little bit off. I feel like that month I was really focused kind of on my personal life, trying to navigate what the heck I'm gonna do about living in the Netherlands and my relationship. And if you guys have been following along with me, you know that my boyfriend is Dutch. He lives in the Netherlands. He just got a job in the Netherlands. He's gonna be there for the next few years. And basically, if we wanna stay together, that means that I have to live in the Netherlands. I don't think I've said this at all on my channel, but the Netherlands is just honestly not my first top choice of place to live. And I feel really kind of selfish saying that, because relationships are about sacrifice, no doubt, and this is definitely something that I've been struggling with, because to be honest, I just don't feel that excited about making the move to the Netherlands, and that's been obviously affecting my relationship, and that's something that I'm currently navigating through. So I don't want to share too much about it because it doesn't just involve me, it also involves Tim. So I'm gonna kind of keep it to that for now, but that was definitely something I was going through and struggling with, and I'm still struggling with. So I just wasn't feeling super inspired, and it just felt weird to post like a surface level video of like what I ate today when I was like going through something more serious. And I also just didn't feel like sharing what I was going through while I was going through it. I hope that makes sense. That definitely played a big role in why I just wasn't feeling compelled to create. And I think there's another component to it too, which was definitely on my mind and is still on my mind. After coming out of my yoga teacher training and just kind of like having this reawakening, I know it sounds dramatic, but I've been really thinking long and hard about my YouTube channel and about this as a career, because right now this is my career. I want to make the most out of this platform. I want to spread the best message I can. And sometimes when I look back at the videos on my channel, I just kind of think to myself, like, is this contributing any good? You know, social media is just totally crazy. There's so much good, there's so much bad, there's so much just noise, like so much that just doesn't do anything at all. You can watch a video and be like, why did I just watch that? I didn't get anything out of that. And I want my videos to be positive. I want them to have a positive impact. And I know that doesn't necessarily mean that all of my videos have to be carrying this big message. They don't have to be like these mini documentaries making a big change in the world. I know that if I just make a video about anything, if it just makes somebody feel good about themselves or makes somebody happy, or just the smallest little feeling evoked in the viewer, that's all I'm going for. But sometimes I just get discouraged and feel like, is this video worth it? Does it mean something to somebody? So I'm just trying to kind of rethink my channel and just make sure that every video I post is made with love and not only inspires you guys, but inspires me, because I want to feel like what I'm creating is fulfilling for me, but also obviously doing something for the viewer. So that's where my head's at with that. And I'm totally inspired to create on YouTube. I'm not going anywhere on YouTube. It's just that I feel like this happens to all creators, you know, like you go through a period of questioning your content. I hate that word. But yeah, that's where my head's at. That's where my head was at in the Netherlands. But the story continues. So that pretty much brings us to the middle of April. Now, I planned like a mother-daughter trip with my mom in Croatia for the last 2 weeks of April. Super exciting. My mom has a big work season in the summer, so this was kind of like her vacation before her work starts. On the day I was supposed to fly to Croatia, I woke up with this really intense, crazy fever. I just figured like, okay, this sucks. I probably have a flu and it's gonna go away in a few days. So I got on the plane, went to Croatia. My mom was meeting me in like 4 days or so. Again, I started a travel vlog, super excited to start making videos again. And then I ended up just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. By the time my mom got there, I was just in bed, couldn't do anything, super sick, even more sick than I was in India, which just was like so unfortunate. I went to the doctor for the first time in Croatia. I had like a 103.5 degree fever. I don't remember what that is in Celsius. I think it's like almost 40 degrees. They gave me like a shot in my butt for my fever. They gave me antibiotics. They thought I just had some kind of weird virus, although I'm almost 100% positive that antibiotics don't treat viruses, so I'm not really sure. I started taking the antibiotics about like 4 or 5 days in. I just started to feel worse. Like it was not getting any better. So I went to the hospital in Croatia and they did some more tests. They did blood work. They gave me an IV and they were like, everything looks normal. You're fine. Just rest, liquids, you'll be fine. So I was like, okay, it's been almost like 10 days, but I can do this. I still had like 103 fever. Anyways, my mom had planned to meet her friend in Greece, so she ended up leaving me, which was fine. And I had about 3 more days in Croatia before I was supposed to leave on this really awesome trip that I can't tell you guys anything about until I think 2 weeks or so. But I had to decide whether or not I was gonna be well enough to go on this trip that I really wanted to go on. And I kind of started to like mentally convince myself, okay, you're getting better, you're getting better. And I started like getting out of bed and trying to like walk around the city. I kind of convinced myself like, all right, you can do this, you got this. So I got on the plane, flew halfway across the world to a continent I've never been to before. I arrive in this city and I'm super freaking sick. Like, cannot get out of bed once I get to my hotel room. So I went to the hospital. They did a chest x-ray, more blood tests, urine analysis, maybe too much information. They come back with all the tests and they were like, everything's normal, you're fine. And I was like, okay, so can I go on this trip? And they were like, well, I mean, you have a really high fever and like you don't look very well, but like you're not emergency wise like gonna fall over and die, so like you can go on the trip. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll just keep taking paracetamol every 4 hours and I'll be fine. So I really rallied. Also, I invited my brother on this trip with me. I had a +1, so I honestly feel like if my brother hadn't taken off of work for 2 weeks and came on this trip, I probably would have ended up going home just because I was like in such a bad state. But my brother was there, super excited for the trip, and I was like, I'm gonna rally, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be fine. For like the first week, I was really struggling, but kind of made it work. And then in the last few days, I started to feel better, which was like a miracle. This is now like 3.5 weeks after I've had a fever. Is this really boring? I feel like this is really boring. I'm sorry if you're still listening. Thank you so much. Anyways, now I've been home for 3 days and I started feeling better in the last 2 days of this 2-week trip. So that was like kind of a miracle. Regardless, I went to the hospital as soon as I got home because of course I wanted to make sure that I was okay. Went to the hospital, explained all my symptoms, and they were like, you probably have malaria. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't think I've really talked about this on my channel too much before, but I'm like a serious hypochondriac. I always think I have like the worst thing possible and I just can really psych myself out about being sick. Somehow, in some way, I never Googled the symptoms of malaria. Now that I have, it was like everything that I felt, the whole progression along the way just says malaria. So the doctors were like, yeah, we think you have malaria, like everything you say kind of sounds like malaria. You were in India in a malaria prone area, because pretty much all of India is in a malaria prone area, and a lot of the times the symptoms don't show up right away. So they did the test and it came back negative. But the problem is the test for malaria and any parasite, because malaria is a parasite, sometimes it comes back negative if your symptoms aren't present. Because my symptoms weren't present in the hospital, the test came back negative. but they still think that it was malaria, but I won't know unless my fever comes back. Because as far as I know, you can't fight off malaria yourself. So if I did or do have malaria, it will come back. I just have to wait and see if it comes back, which is unfortunate. But malaria is totally treatable, and obviously I don't recommend getting it, but if I do have it, I'll be able to treat it. If it's not malaria, I might never figure out what it was, because there's this thing called fever of unknown origin, where you just have a fever for a prolonged period of time and you never figure out where it came from, which is also unfortunate. But as of now, I have to go to an infectious disease doctor and just make sure I don't have any kind of rare thing. But the good news is I'm feeling so much better. I was seriously sick for almost a month. It's probably been about 5 days where I actually don't have a fever, and all I can say is I'm so grateful for my health. And I had a small taste of what it feels like to be sick for a prolonged period of time, and that is no joke. Oh my gosh, me and you watching should be so grateful that we have able bodies to do what we want to do and feel good and breathe this air. And oh my gosh, I'm just so happy that I don't feel sick anymore. The only like lasting symptoms that I have is some pain and aching in my joints, but hey, that is no big deal compared to how I was feeling before. So that kind of brings us to present day. I just got home 3 days ago and I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling so inspired finally to sit down and film this for you guys and to continue on with YouTube, start posting videos, share with you guys my life, my journey, and yeah, wow, that went way quicker than I thought. This video is probably pretty long, but I thought I'd be sitting here for quite a bit longer. So with that said, I'm back. Thank you so much for being here. Seriously, if you're watching this right now, I love you. I'm home for 2 weeks and then I'm headed off on my next adventure. Actually, a really fun trip with one of my friends from high school. We're going to Portugal. So if you guys have any recommendations for Portugal, let me know. I guess with that, I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.